Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Welcome to another episode of Modern Chiropractic Mastery. This is your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, and today I'm bringing a solo episode. We're going to talk a little bit about business. I've got 5 things to chat about on some business-related updates and topics that we've kind of come across, whether it's through our coaching program, our mastermind, or even some of the Facebook groups that I hang out in, and trying to give you some insights on that. And today we're going to talk about 5 things. We're talking about cash flow. We're going to talk about compliance. We're going to talk about outsourcing or in-house billing. We're going to talk about having a future bigger than your past. And then we're also going to talk about knowing your numbers. So let's dive right into cash flow. Had an interesting conversation with one of our mastermind members this past weekend in Chicago, and we were kind of talking about he's been practicing for quite a long time, and he just really talked about where cash flow, and we know this is just so important. You know, whether it's your investments and your net worth and things of that nature, but as long as your cash flow in your personal life and in your business is confident, you will feel really good about yourself and what you're doing. And when you have cash flow issues, it can be the other way around, right? You can have person A and person B, or say chiropractor A and chiropractor B. And let's say all things are equal. And let's say they're really pushing the envelope. They're really working hard. They're working 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week, whatever you want to say. They're like working hard. If chiropractor A has cash flow confidence in their personal life and in their business, and they're feeling good about that, they're going to prevent burnout and feel really good about their progress they're making compared to chiropractor B, who is having cash flow issues. And so you got to protect your cash flow. You have to make decisions based on your cash flow. And some of you run into cash flow issues, and I know I've run into cash flow issues in the past, but some of you run into cash flow issues because, frankly, there's not enough money coming in, right? You need to get more patients. You need more new patients. You need more reactivations. You need more office visits. You need better patient adherence to your treatment plans. You frankly need more revenue coming in. And in some of you, it's not a revenue problem. It's an overhead problem. And you might have made some decisions that have chipped away into that overhead and setting you up to be cash flow crunched. And that's not a fun feeling. And here's the reality of it is you're going to run into some cash flow stuff here and there. There's a lot of things that happen. If you practice for long enough, 30, 40 years, there can be times where cash flow got tight. And because even like the big CFOs of big companies mess it up, right? Like it could be a $1 billion company and they mess up the cash flow. And that's when you see, hundreds of people laid off. And so you have to give yourself some grace if it happens, but you want to make it kind of a blip in the radar versus a chronic cash flow problem, right? So there's a big difference between, 1 month or 2 months out of the year, or 1 year out of 10, or, whatever. I've had some cash flow stuff here versus a chronic cash flow crunch where it's like death by 1,000 cuts that can happen. It just eats at you and it gnaws at you for a long time. And there are a lot of strategies that we work with chiropractors to help out with their cash flow. And again, it's not always just, not enough money coming in. Sometimes it's too much money going out. And sometimes it's a little bit of both, right? And we can kind of pull some levers here and there to try to figure that out or give you some insights. And sometimes it's hard to know how to get out of it without a second set of eyes that's a little more objective and taking the emotion out of it, right? And so you got to really protect that cash flow. And another strategy I really want you to consider, and this is something that's been instrumental for me, is that, you should have an emergency savings fund, but that emergency savings fund should be for true emergencies, not payroll emergencies, right? It should be where a hurricane hits and you have to close down for a week, or somehow billing got messed up for a month, you noticed, and there's no money coming in. There was a flood, right? You got injured and you're the only doctor and you couldn't practice for a month. Those are true emergencies. The other account you should have is a sinking fund account, which is money you take out of the operating account into another account and it sits there, but you utilize that for, say, non-emergencies. Maybe you put money in there and you pay off your malpractice insurance for $4,000 when it comes in. You're putting money in there to hire someone. You want some cushion. You put money in there to get into the summer months because it's slower in the summer months. You put money in there because you're going to take a 2-week vacation. You're the only doctor, and you got money in there. Or if you run into a cash flow crunch and you have a little bit of protection there. So that sinking fund will give you a little peace of mind when you do happen to get into cash flow issues there. And so consider the sinking fund. So there's a lot. I could probably do a whole show on cash flow. I'm not the full expert on it. I do feel with our team of experts, we've helped a lot of chiropractors out of chronic or acute cash flow issues. Let's take a break from today's episode and announce our first sponsor. This is going to be Propel Marketing and Design. I've known Darcy Sullivan for years. We've worked hand in hand on my websites. I don't trust anybody else to do the search engine optimization. She does a great job. There's so much to it. A lot of the lingo and the words are beyond my comprehension, but it's just amazing work that she does. And if you're really going to get results with Google, you have to make sure your website is SEO optimized. And I really don't want you doing it yourself as a chiropractor. So you just have to have this type of stuff done. And if you're looking to get more organic online traffic that pulls in new patients, Propel Marketing and Design is currently offering chiropractors who listen to this podcast a free SEO website review. The free review will help you uncover methods that will improve your website and boost your search engine visibility. Head over to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor and schedule your free SEO website review. You won't regret it. She gets great results. Your website needs this. Your search results need this. Head on over there to propelyourcompany.com/chiropractor to get your free SEO website review. Second is compliance. Our clinic is going through full compliance training. I'm diving into it. I have a saying after going through it is compliance is the thief of joy, and but it's necessary evil. And I'm learning a lot. And there's definitely a lot of things that we had to clean up with as far as HIPAA, as far as Medicare notes, as far as I mean, just to give you an idea, there's a few things I want to touch on here that I've learned. As of July 1st, if you have if you had salaried employees, right, not your hourly, but your salary, there's now a salary minimum wage, right? So if you have a salaried employee, non-doctor, non-attorney, and there's a couple other, I think non-teacher, but if it's just like, let's say it's your office manager, your front desk, your CA, if they are a salaried employee, the minimum yearly salary now is I think 48,000 and change per year. And it's going to actually go up January 1st to like 58,000 and change. And so some of you may have salary employees are making less than that. And you have to get compliant with that. And you have two options typically is either increase their salary pay to that, or you're going to have to convert them to hourly. I'll let you look up the details of that, but that is something I learned recently. And that is a real thing, believe it or not. So compliance is important. There's no doubt about that. There's also certain compliance training things you need to have. Compliance manual. I'm working through that right now. You should have a employee handout manual as well. There's a lot of different types of trainings you need within HIPAA. Diversity now has passed the law. There's a whole diversity training you have to do in the clinic. There's a lot of things, and it's wise to get compliant in your practice. Okay, so just check that out. I'm going through that. There's different company options from there. I'm not going to necessarily. If you want to reach out to me personally with a recommendation, you can. Kevin at modern-jockey.com. I'll give you a few options. Okay. Number 3 is I saw a question about should I in-house or outsource my billing? And I don't think there's any necessarily right or wrong. I think there's a lot of variables. But a few things you want to consider. The benefits of outsourcing your billing is that that person's going to work on a percentage, which is good. And it should be a fair percentage. But that's going to make them fight the insurance companies when they're getting denied and things of that nature, because that's how they get paid. You know, if there's coding wrong, they're going to come to you and make sure you get it right. they're going to fight for the dollars because that's how they get compensated, which I really like. The second is you typically don't have to worry about turnover, right? And that's a good thing. You don't have to worry about turnover typically. Obviously, find a reputable outsourced company. That's a given. And then the third thing is it's typically a lot cheaper than a billing person if you're at a certain level of collections. Now, I'm not going to go through what level of, collections you should have, but if you're like a $15,000 a month revenue, 20,000, 25, probably even more, outsourcing that probably makes sense because to hire a full-time billing person is going to cost you considerably. Now, if you have like say a front desk person that's doing that, you need to make sure that you have some way of cross-checking. I have too many nightmare stories of chiropractors reaching out to us saying that they had entrusted one of their team members to do the billing, but it was just part of their hourly or whatever, and they just didn't care enough or they weren't trained well enough, and there was massive issues in the billing. So you got to be careful of that. In my opinion, if you're going to in-house your billing, you need to have a billing specialist that's really good at that, or you gotta make sure you have checks and balances if it's just like your front desk person or a part-time person doing it that isn't compensated based on the collections coming in from that insurance. You gotta make sure you're on point with that. Now, if you're a big clinic, you're collecting 50, 75, 100,000 a month, then it may be wise, and you're in network with insurances, it may be wise to have a in-house billing specialist and going that route. And that's kind of my opinion. You got to do the math and say, okay, if I give up 7% of my insurance collections to outsourced, how much does that cost? If that cost is X amount and that X amount is more than having an in-person, then it's something to consider. But know what your costs are for the outsource versus the in-house. And the concern with the in-house, you got to always make sure you have backup plans. Because if for some reason that billing person is, MIA, quits, or whatever, um, then you might go a period of time without billing if you don't have someone that knows it as a backup plan for you. Okay. So those are my thoughts on the in-house billing. Let's take a short break for one of our great sponsors, TrackStat. It is a new type of software plugin for your EHR that combines patient communication, marketing, automation, and statistics with patient and employee tracking. Built by chiropractors for chiropractors, it shows your team what to focus on each day. See patient visit habits, missing information, unpaid bills, insurance collection visit average, and more. Great visibility of data so you can focus on filling your office with your best patients. When you can see what your staff and patients are doing or not doing and take action accordingly, your profits naturally grow. Take TrackStat for a test drive in your office with our free trial. Not a techie, no problem, we can help. To get started on your free trial, visit trackstat.org and watch the demo. That is trackstat.org. Next is a quote from Dan Sullivan, and that is always make your future bigger than your past. I think a lot of chiropractors struggle with seeing a future that is bigger than their past or their current, and they get frustrated and they get burned out and they feel like quitting the profession because they're not seeing a future bigger than their past. When you can see, envision a future bigger than your past, that is when you can work hard. That's when you can sustain it. That's when you can see the fruits of your labor and you can prevent burnout. I think that's a big thing. Now, I know it's just kind of a contextual saying, make your future bigger than your past. But what does that look like? With all our clients, we do a 3-year vision planning session. Like, what I want to know exactly what your 3 years looks like in your mind's eye. Like, what's your bigger future? And then we got to reverse engineer that with you to make sure that we put you on a path to that bigger future so that you're not just dreaming, right? The difference between dreaming and a vision is that you actually have a plan to achieve that vision. And are you kind of in a malaise? Are you waffling in your career and you don't know why? Um, you start to get concerned that Your future is not bigger than your past. Okay. Number 5, know your numbers. I think too many chiropractors don't know key statistics of their practice. If I asked them what their office visit average was, like dollar amount, they should be able to tell me, right? Is it $81 per visit on average, right? That's um, take all of your office visits for the year divided by all your collections or vice versa. And that's gonna be a dollar amount, right? So if you had $1,000 and you had 10, you get the idea, right? So your office visit average is gonna be a number that you wanna know. And from there, we can kind of ballpark it where I shouldn't say ballpark. We gotta really hone in on, depending on certain variables, right? If you're in network versus out of network. If you're in network with insurances and you're in a great state that pays well, like say Oregon or North Carolina or Illinois, or you're in network with insurances and you're in a state that pays shitty, like Missouri or Florida and some others, most others. Um, those are things that are going to be realities. But we can get clear on that and we can have strategies to increase that. Because what's cool is I've had so many clients that have increased their OVA by like $5, even more than that. But let's just say you see 400 people in a month and I give you $5 extra a visit. That's $2,000 for doing nothing. That's awesome, right? And it could be even more than that. And so know your OVA. Know what your new patient value is. How much is a new patient worth in your practice? Is it $1,000? Is it 1,500? Someone like the Scheduling Institute would recommend that your new patient value should be, as a chiropractor, at least $1,500. Dentists is more than that. They work with mostly dentists. But I got a lot of chiropractors where it's $700, it's $500, it's $800. Where is that? Why is that happening? Right? And so we can dissect into that. So know what your new patients are worth. That way, when you do marketing and you say, yeah, I spent $1,000 on this campaign and I got 2 new patients and my new patients are worth 1,500, that's $3,000. That's a 3-to-1 return on your investment. That's worthwhile, right? So you want to know that. I need you to know what your, how many new patients you average in a month. Or sorry, yeah, per month over a year. How many office visits are you averaging in a month? What's all that looking like? What are your bad months typically? What are your good months? So you got to know your numbers. In our CSA digital dashboard we have, which is a whole dashboard. You can go to csacircle.com if you want to check out the CSA membership. Within that and within the MCM coaching, we have a whole dashboard that helps you plan out your marketing, events calendar, networking tool, but also we have an in-depth practice analytics that you can look at that will give you those numbers as well. And so check that out. Right? All right. So those are our 5: cash flow, compliance, billing, future bigger than your past, and know your numbers. Always make sure that you are honing in on your business skills. And if you feel like you need to be better at business, but ethically, reach out to us. Go to modernchiropracticmarketing.com. We have a coaching tab there. We have a mastermind tab. We have an academy tab there for CSA. We have many options for you to just get really good at business, but in an ethical way to where you're still patient-centered. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time-free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth, and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things. And we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.